So our last episode, well, two episodes, number 292 and 293 was called NFTs for Musicians, part 1 and part 2. And we asked for artists to give us their thoughts if they've tried NFTs or what they're thinking. And this is a great email from Max from Germany. And I'm wondering if we've met Max at the European conference. I know I did meet a Max, but I'm not sure if it's this Max. So here it goes. Hi, Kevin and Chris. My name is Max from Germany, and I enjoyed part 1 of your NFT discussion a lot as it opened my mind to a lot of ways of how this technology might be used by artists in the music world. However, I would still like to advise towards caution and drive home a few points so artists don't have false expectations of what this might do for them. I occasionally advise some of my musician friends about the music business, probably similarly to how you would manage your artist. Most of them are not tech savvy and have a hard time managing the digital world currently and correctly and efficiently. Often, I have to dissuade them from doing certain things that seem like they promise quick and easy success, like making viral videos, feeding social media and video platforms, playlisting services, etc. One in particular I'm thinking of would rush into getting into NFTs without considering all the risks. If it makes sense for his current business and fan base, the amount of work it will be to set up and manage, and potential pitfalls and scams one might encounter. So, I would strongly advise your listeners to not get started with all of this just yet, but to keep learning about it and wait it until it has become more widespread and established technology. And he makes a couple points of caution with like a header and then a paragraph. I'm going to read the headers and some of the paragraphs. So, point number one, an NFT is not a file and not ownership of that file or creative work. And I think this one's important because we talked about it, but it's important to reiterate. NFTs first started making sense to me when I thought about it on a government level. In a system where every passport is an NFT, you could never again fake your identity. The token, receipt, as Chris has called it, that is used to check the validity of said passport cannot be faked because it is cross referenced through every single computer that is part of the blockchain technology where the NFT lives. So even if you spend 3 million on the Dune book NFT, which happened a few weeks ago, that does not give you ownership of the IP, and apparently the person that bought it thought they could make the movie of Dune now, had the rights because they bought this original manuscript or something.
What a letdown.
If I buy an NFT picture, that does not mean no one can right click and download it. It just means that you have undeniable proof of ownership of that one instance of a digital good, which is something we don't have at the moment. If anyone makes a meme with a picture I shot or makes a YouTube video with my music, then we currently have no way at all to verify digitally that the person has purchased a license or gotten consent from me, the creator. But with an NFT, they would. But that's all it is proof. And I really liked that's why I wanted to read that paragraph. I'll go to his other, just had the headers of his other points because I felt like he brought up a good example about using music in a video. There's no way I can prove that I have the rights to do that. And it's a big problem for people. And it's actually probably one of the biggest issues with content ID on YouTube is that people have a legitimate right to use music, or they have done it in a way where it shouldn't trigger other things like content ID, but it still does. A couple other points he had was number two, some are estimating that a lot of NFTs will become worthless in the future. I would say that probably all of them are going to be worthless in the future.
Oh, that's
He
mean. Like, just 99% of them.
99%. Number three, he talks about power consumption. And the one stat he has here is that one Bitcoin transaction requires 2.26 million kilowatt hours. That is 15 times the amount it takes to make, it looks like 10,000 Visa transactions, might be 100,000. So 1.5 million times as much as a single Visa transaction. 1.5 million times. Wow. I still, with the whole ecological thing, I still don't know how that compares to what happens when I do Google searches. Like if I do 100 Google searches a day, should I limit my Google searches? I mean, because I know that they ping all over the world.
I know, for one, Bitcoin is expensive like that because their consensus mechanism is called proof of work. It means they need lots of computers all competing to do this very laborious
Yeah.
cryptographic stuff, and the winner gets rewarded. But so in order to get a transaction verified, you have lots of computers spending a lot of energy. There are a lot of other blockchains that do something called proof of stake, which is a lot more energy efficient. And even then, there are things like layer 2 solutions where, like, a lot of the transaction stuff is getting sorted out and verified kind of like one level up. So you get a lot of stuff sorted out, and then once it's all sorted out, you just have that printed to the blockchain officially, and that saves energy, time, and money too. All that to say, there's lots of solutions in the works for the energy thing.
Yeah, has anyone made a meme from Back to the Future using that scene where the doc finds out how much energy it needs to run the time machine for the flux
Oh, yeah.
capacitor? That would be a funny
15
meme for
trillion gigawatts,
that would
whatever it
be
is.
a funny meme for the, uh the blockchain folks. At least that would help me make sense. Like the environmental thing, it's like when you start talking about kilowatt hours, it's like, hey man, I play guitar. I you lost me at, at 2.26 million kilowatt hours. Is that a lot? Is that small? I don't know.
Well, I guess blockchains just need to run on lightning storms that are hitting clock towers, right?
Yeah, yeah. We know where one happens. So, Max's last point was it's not regulated yet, and there's the potential is great, but there's also great potential for abuse, which you've already started seeing like crazy. It was a couple of weeks ago I heard about a major marketplace shutting down because it was so riddled with fraud that they just had to just shut it down. And that is potential for problem, and it seems to be more rampant in this space than in other things that have emerged on the web that people are trying to adopt.
And there seems to be a new NFT hack like every 3 days now.
Yeah, yeah. So he sums up, Max sums up saying, okay, I'll stop my semi rant here. I absolutely love the idea of this technology and I can't wait to see where it goes and how the world will change with it. But as things stand now, I wouldn't recommend anyone to make them a part of their marketing arsenal yet. He said, sorry for the long email, but this was also for me to create more clarity on the subject. But thanks for your email, Max. I actually liked some of the things you said a lot. It actually helped me conceptualize the receipt thing, the way he put it, in relating it to like using a song on YouTube or some of the other things that you might have that there's no digital receipt that says you have the right to do this. I think that
Mhm.
that was an interesting usage, a way to explain the technology.